Hello everyone, and welcome back to Optima, home of the Optima APOS series product group. In this video, we're going to have a closer look at the Department's Maintenance module, right after this. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Optima. This module allows you to set up each of your departments. Let's start by creating a new department. Click on the plus sign to insert a new department. By default, the next available department ID is assigned, but you may enter any department ID you wish as long as it is not a duplicate. Enter the department name, and if your kitchen printer has been set up to use second names, enter a second name using one of the supported languages. In French, plat du jour, using the traditional Chinese character set, or even, in this case, using Spanish, especial del día. We can select an existing promotion to link to this department, or click on the promotions icon to create a new promotion. We will take a closer look at setting up promotions in another video. For now, I will set this to none. Just note that any promotion set up at the department level will default to the products linked to that department, unless setting 74 individual promotions for products has been enabled. We will talk more about this setting when we look at the Products Maintenance module. The same applies to links and modifier groups. Setting these up at the department level simply acts as a default setting for each of the products within that department. For example, I could have a pop department and set up a link to a 10-cent levy so that whenever there is a pop sale, like a Pepsi or a Coke, the 10-cent levy is automatically added to the transaction. Or I could have a burgers department that has a toppings modifier group, so that all burger sales will automatically pop up the modifier window, allowing the choice of burger toppings. For now, I will leave these blank and come back to them when we look at the Products Maintenance module. Let's now look at each of the department options. First thing to note is that the radio button is to the right of the text. You may enable or disable an option by clicking on the appropriate button or by clicking on the text. For example, the single item option is to the right of the text. Zero prices not allowed. Select this option if all product items must have a non-zero price to be sold. If this option is enabled, items may be defined with zero prices but will no longer be allowed to be sold. This applies to each price level. If the user attempts to sell the item on GoPause, a warning message indicating that zero prices are not allowed will pop up and the item sale will not be allowed. To sell the item with this option enabled, you must choose a price level with a non-zero price or change the item price to a non-zero value. The user must also enter non-zero prices for open department sales. Prices are negative. All product item prices are entered as positive values but subtracted from the transaction total. This also applies to open department sales. Scalable. Items sold in bulk or weight should be marked as scalable. The total price will be calculated based on the weight measured by the scale or entered by the clerk. A warning message will be displayed if no scale has been defined in hardware maintenance. The TAR weight may also be entered to define the TAR of all products for the department. If defined, the total price will be calculated based on the weight measured by the scale or entered by the clerk minus the TAR weight. Print weight volume info line if chosen. The weight or volume of the item will be included in the pricing printed on the receipt. The base weight and base volume measurements defined in setting options will be used. Setting 18 base weight unit and setting 75 base volume unit. Single item. Entering a single item product automatically begins and ends the transaction with the item entry. The first tender declared will be used to tender the transaction. Manager required. Select this option if the user requires managerial rights. On GoPause, any user without managerial rights will get a manager required warning message and will not be allowed to make an open department sale, sell any items under the department, or display the PLU list for the specified department. No decimal point entry. If this option is enabled, department products can only be sold in whole units. When the option is disabled, decimal values are allowed and products may be sold in partial units. For example, when decimal point entry is allowed, the user may enter 1.5 times item on GoPause to sell 1.5 of the item. The total price will be calculated as 1.5 times the unit price. If decimal point entry is not allowed, entering 1.5 times item will display a warning message indicating that decimal point entry is not allowed. Price 3 decimals. Items sold by volume should be marked as price 3 decimals. Enabling this option will indicate that the products are measurable and a volume may be entered when entering transactions. Products may be sold by weight, scalable, or by volume, price 3 decimals, but not both. If this option is enabled, department product prices will be displayed with 3 decimal places and will override setting 6 number of decimal digits. Open department. Select this option to enable open department sales. Users are allowed to enter a price followed by the department key without identifying the product sold. PLU List Function. Select this option to display a pop-up list of all products defined under the chosen department. Food stamp. Select this option to allow department sales to be tendered using food stamps. Hash department. If enabled, open department sales will not be included in total sales and will not affect revenue. Open price on products. Select this option to enable open product sales. Users are allowed to enter a price before selecting the product to override the price without having to hit the price override function. If this option is disabled, entering an amount before pressing on the product will treat the amount as a multiplier. When this option is enabled, you must enter the amount and press on the multiplier X symbol before pressing on the product to treat the amount as a multiplier. In most cases, we will want to allow open department sales and enable the PLU list function. The print on option allows you to enable the printing of the departments on any of the printers you have defined in hardware maintenance module. This also defaults to the products unless setting to individual print options for products has been enabled. The print font may be set for the receipt printer as well as the kitchen printer. For taxes, you may enable or disable each tax for the department, and by extension, the tax associated to each product linked to the department. Taxes at the product level can be overridden if setting 3 individual taxes for products has been enabled. There is a basic stock and inventory control included with PCPROG. You may enable stock control by selecting this option. You may then enter a minimum stock count for the items under this department. Once the stock on hand reaches this limit, the item will be included in the stock minimum quantities report and the stock min quantities by supplier report. You may group your stock by selecting one of the defined suppliers, or click on the supplier ID to add a new supplier. We will look at the supplier maintenance module later on in this video series. So that is it for now, but stay tuned, and in the next video we will have a closer look at the products module.
Why don't you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notified as soon as we upload any new videos. Also, if you want to learn more about the Optima APOS series line of products, or need any POS accessories such as barcode scanners, printers, Windows PC POS terminals, and more, visit www.optimagopos.ca. Again, that's www.optimagopos.ca. I'm Brandon from Optima, and I'll see you again.